I'm Ariel and I'm back with a new video. This year I actually was not planning on making a new dress for Christmas. I actually was intending to use my revisit of last year's Christmas dress and fixing up all the things I didn't like about it as this year's Christmas dress video. However, I then got this comment from someone on that video from last year saying how they're looking forward to what I'm making this year, and I thought to myself, well, I am kidding, obviously. I am nothing if not a hoarder of fabrics, and I bought this really cute cotton Yule fabric a couple weeks ago that I chose not to tell you because I felt bad about my hoarding addiction. But now I have a project that I can use it for, and it won't be a problem anymore. Now, as far as this fabric goes, I absolutely love it. It's giving very European Yule tidings vibes, very moody winter forest vibes. I just love that, and if you've seen it in my other videos, you know that I'm not really into in-your-face holiday fabric unless it's Halloween. Like, I don't really like very many Christmas fabrics. They're just too Christmassy, and I feel like you can only really wear them around Christmas time, otherwise you're just gonna look like a holiday elf on summer vacation. So that is a vibe. It's not really my vibe. I like a pattern I can wear all year round. Now, as far as the pattern I'm going to be using the Simplicity 9311. It is a vintage reproduction, and as you've already noticed, it is indeed an apron pattern. However, I think view A, which is what I'm going to be using, is really more conducive to being a dress, and I think it'll be absolutely adorable with this fabric. And for the accents, I'm going to be using this like pseudo suede-esque red fabric I got. It's a polyester fabric I picked up at a thrift store maybe a couple years ago when I thought I was going to be making little fake poinsettias as Christmas gifts, which I ended up not doing, so I'm using it for this project. In addition to all of that, I'm also going to be adding like a cummerbund around the middle or like a ruched up belt around the middle, because I think that will not only complement the poinsettias in the fabric, but also break up the monotony of that repeating pattern. And yeah, that's my plans for now, and I'm ready to get started, so let us begin. I made a quick mock-up, which I understand looks like trash, but trust me, I got a good feeling about this. I cut out the apron in a standard size large. The only thing I changed was adding 3 inches to the hemline and also lowering the bust line by about an inch as the seam ran across my apex. It's supposed to be a shelf, not a divider. Then I cut the ties and cummerbund out of the red poly suede. For the belly band, I used a vintage cummerbund pattern to cut the shape, then sized it down on the mock-up material to fit snugly across my midsection and line up with the side seams on the dress. Lastly, I made the bias tape. These were cut approximately 4 centimeters wide. I made 6 strips plus 2 smaller ones for the pocket trim. I began by sewing the back darts. Then I joined the front panel to the inside pocket piece with the right sides facing out. Next, I cover the raw edge with a bit of red bias tape. I actually serge finish the edge first, and then I roll it over and hand tack the folded bias tape to the inside of the pocket. I French seam the bottom of the pocket before tacking the panels together with a stay stitch. Afterward, I join all the front seams together along with the back seams, and then I serge finish all the edges. Before I join the top to the skirt, I ruche the bust line and serge it in place. As if busts aren't already visually interesting, I added a decorative velvet piping. I want to take a second to appreciate the nearly perfect alignment here, because I'm about to ruin it. Also, don't mind this weird alignment here. This one's kind of makes me nauseous. I add the zipper per usual, top stitching along the seam, and then I stitch up the sides so I can try it on. As you can see, it is way too loose up top. This neckline is wild, y'all, and creates a lot of bag in the back. That's because I didn't account that the original pattern is a button back, not a zipper back. So, taking in the back gives me a much nicer fit, but I lose that near perfect seam alignment. The things we do for fit. Isn't that right, Pepper? With the dress nearly done, I could move on to the belly band. I was intending to sew this directly to the dress, but after the try-on, I decided it should be a belt instead. It doesn't really change the design. I still make the straps as usual. The belly band itself gets the lining, but I accidentally already cut 2 pieces on purpose. The only difference is after I ruche it down, I stuff it into the straps instead of joining it to the side panels. I tack one side down with the machine and then hand stitch the other side closed. And that's that. Next, I add all the trim to the dress hem, going over the curves with care to add that mini mitered corner. Trim gets added to the neckline as well. It's around here I remember the collar still really loose, so I pinch out how much needs to be taken in. I unpick the trim and measure the length that I want to take in, which is about 2.5 inches. So I spread down that ruche over the expanse of 7 inches, making my new width about 4.5 inches. The trim gets pinned and sewn as before, and I can move on to the sleeves, which there aren't many, so I just fold the fabric and top stitch. Lastly, I hand sew all the trimmings to the inside using 2-ply embroidery threads and a ladder stitch. I'd say it's time for the reveal. Well, there you have it, another project down. I have to say I'm pleasantly surprised with this dress. Normally when I have a vision in my head of how I want something to look and to turn out, my pieces usually come out more inspired by as opposed to the actual image that I'm seeing in my head, whereas this dress looks exactly as I thought it would look. That doesn't usually happen. I think it is super cute. I am actually really glad that I decided not to sew in the cummerbund, as I think I ended up liking it better without the cummerbund. I thought this motif would be a little much on the eyes. You might disagree, but I like it. The things I would do differently, I would probably make the pockets a lot deeper as they are pretty short. They still hold my phone just fine, but as I had said, I lowered this seam about 1 inch, which then means these pockets got lowered by about 1 inch, and I think I would have liked to have that inch of depth back. But other than that, I think it came out pretty well. I suppose you could say that the scalloping isn't very scallopy, and I might do a deeper scallop next time, but I'm not mad at how it came out. I think it looks fine. Another thing I really like about this dress is it doesn't feel very Christmassy. I feel like you could probably get away with wearing this in like February or October. Yeah, so I'm really happy with how it came out. I know, we'll go on your walk. Well, I know, I understand. It's almost walkie time. As far as grading goes, I'm gonna give myself a C because it's Christmas and Christmas starts with C. Well, this is my last sewing video of the year. I hope you like it, and if you do, please consider liking and subscribing as I release a video on some random Sundays. Maybe not in a row, maybe every other Sunday, but always on a Sunday. Unless it's not. And until next time, I hope you have a good day. Bye! Okay, I understand. I understand. It's Walkies time. Come here. Yeah, I understand. It's Walkies time. I get it. We'll go on our walkies. Wah. Oh, you big bundle of love.